Hey, it's me, Minu. Welcome back to Minu's Mortuary, where I talk all things horror movies. I know I've been gone for a while, and it's really been a struggle to edit videos, so these are going to be more podcast style now so that I can actually get videos out to people. I want to talk about Obsession. I should have saw it 2 weeks ago, but the opening weekend, it was only showing at night, so I was like, oh, I'll come back when it's showing during the day, and I forgot about it. And then I started seeing YouTubers comment about it and like how good it was. And I was like, let me go watch this movie. Because I had seen Hokum. And so a little brief review of Hokum. If you've seen Caveat, there isn't anything new that Hokum gives you. Which is kind of sad because I really like I think it's Adam Scott is the actor in that movie. But it doesn't give me anything new that Caveat didn't already give me. So it was kind of like one of those movies where I didn't even want to talk about it because it's like, what I'm going to say. I could tell you the story, but it is what it is. It's whatever. So that I was really excited to go see Obsession, and I just got back from watching it in the theaters. So if I'm a little all over the place, that's why. As a horror fan, as somebody who watches horror movies all the time, it is very rare that I can watch a movie that scares me. And not just scares me because there's a jump scare, there's always going to be a jump scare and then you're going to jump and you're like, oh, but it's not going to sit with you. It's not going to linger in your body. Obsession had scares that were so unexpected that I can't wait to watch the movie again. I just saw the movie and I want to watch the movie again. Like, I feel like I want to buy it or download it or whatever just so I could watch it again and study it and examine it. And I don't often have movies that make me feel that way. And I want to say, too, Curry Barker writing and directing this, and me having followed him from the channel That's a Bad Idea, that made me really happy because I don't really watch that channel for the comedy stuff, but every now and then they would do something that would be horror related and I would watch it and I would genuinely like what they're doing and where they're going with it. And I would think like, man, these guys should really make feature length films. So to see he finally got a feature length film, I was like, that's great. The writing is where he really, really shines. Curry Barker really, really shines. And so I was kind of like proud and excited to see what was going to happen in this movie. And in a way, the initial premise of the movie is something that we've all seen before. And I think that that's why I originally I wasn't chomping at the bit to go watch Obsession, because I was like, I know this premise. I've seen this movie before. I had not seen this movie before. The initial premise is that there is this love-struck guy named Bear who is in love with a girl from his friend group named Nikki, and the movie starts with him like practicing how he's gonna ask her out and all of that stuff. So he buys this toy called One Wish Willow, and he tries to basically wish that Nikki would fall in love with him and love him more than anybody in the whole world. And that is very specific. He didn't just say, I wish she loved me back. He said, I wish she loved me more than anybody in the whole world. Those words were very specific. It didn't even sound natural the way he said it, but it was so specific because I feel like that's the reason why this thing went completely off the rails. But the obsession is about Nikki falling in love with him and how that has horrible consequences. And it's funny too, because when he's buying the toy, he's like joking with the clerk about how people, they take it, they make a wish, they come back and complain and all those things. And he's like, oh, what do they have? Horrible consequences? Ha ha ha. And they're just giggling about it. And I'm like, classic white people. You buy something, you hear it's dangerous, you giggle about it, and you take it home anyway. And so I thought that I had already seen multiple movies, whether it's a man or a woman, they have a crush on someone, they wish that person falls in love with them, and then it goes horribly wrong. And I've seen that movie so many times, but I feel like Obsession goes in a completely unexpected direction. Not in terms of the overall story, but scene to scene, it does something different. It does what I'm not expecting it to do. There are scenes where I'm like looking at the frame and looking at how the character is not center frame, and there's all this space on the screen, and it makes my brain go, oh, all that space on the screen, someone's about to show up. And then no one shows up, and I'm like, oh, They faked me out. They knew I would expect that, and then it's not there. And then there'll be another time when I'm like, okay, definitely this is gonna happen, and nothing happens, and I'm like, okay, they fucking with me at this point. And then another time it does happen, but then what I thought would happen does not happen. Something completely crazier than what I thought would happen happens. There's a scene in the story, and it's so funny because there's multiple times throughout the movie that Nikki is just shrouded in darkness. From the moment that she becomes possessed, technically, from the moment that he makes the wish, Nikki is shrouded in darkness the majority of the time. And that is a signal to us that, okay, something is wrong. She's possessed in some way. She's not herself. Because before, when we saw her, she was there, plain as day. You could clearly see her even in the dark, even at night. And then afterwards, even if she's standing in a well-lit room, she somehow manages to be in a complete shadow to where you can't even see her face. So it's like, this is like some kind of supernatural possession, right? And there's a moment in the movie when Bear wakes up in bed and she's not next to him. So he's looking around the room and you see this shadow in the corner of the room. And I'm like, oh, they're messing with me. Cause you know how in horror movies, they look around a dark room and you see this shadow that kind of looks like a person, but it's really a coat. It was really a person this time. She was actually in the corner. And it's not revealed like a jump scare though. And that's what I appreciated. Instead of it being like, oh no, zoom in, loud music, she's in the corner, it's her. It's like, it makes you linger for a minute to question whether or not you are actually seeing what you think you're seeing. And because so many movies play the game of, you think there's a person in the corner, but it's actually a coat, you write it off. You gaslight yourself and say, that's not a person, that must be a coat. And then it turns out to be a person. I really appreciated that there were so many moments of misdirection where you just don't expect her to behave the way you think she's going to behave. There's also this entire supernatural element of she's obviously possessed, and you have to wonder, is she there, but something's controlling her body? Is her spirit completely gone and somewhere else? You don't really know. And so because there's the supernatural element where she's obviously possessed by something that is causing her to act crazy, you think that there's going to be this whole section of the movie where he's going to go looking online and he's going to find out about some ancient witch who created one wish willow, and they're going to have to go get a priest and do an exorcism, and all types of stuff is going to ensue from that. No, it doesn't go down that route. And I appreciated that. Because when he goes to search on the internet about, is this thing real? Some people are saying, yes, it's totally real. And other people are saying, of course it's not. It's a toy. As opposed to him getting a bunch of searches. A person buys one wish willow and then dies 3 days later. Because so many movies do that. So many supernatural movies do that. So many supernatural movies say, oh, this person is possessed now. Now they're going to fly through the room and have a demon voice, and the lights are going to flicker and all types of crazy stuff is going to happen. And none of that happened. She's still possessed. There's still this supernatural element to the movie. But I appreciated that it didn't go full on like, oh, I'm battling a demon. Oh, I'm battling an evil witch. Because I feel like everything comes back to, go get the holy water. Go get a cross. Somebody come read the Bible real quick. And I just didn't want to see any of that. And I didn't have to, because every scene, they did something completely different than what I would expect. Indy Navarrete was acting her ass off. Like, there were moments where she was trying to give us like Pearl, where Mia Goth played Pearl, and she was kind of very animated, and she was like, super nice. And then she was flip, or what is it called? The BPD split, because I felt like a lot of people compare Pearl to somebody with BPD. And so I felt like there were times when she was kind of paying homage to that, and like, oh, I'm super nice, and then I split, and then I'm super crazy, and then I split back, and I'm super nice. And, I just want to love you. I just want to love you. Why you not loving me back? Why you don't seem happy? I don't understand, because I'm genuinely trying to show you that I love you, while also, digging up a dead animal and feeding it to you, which is crazy. It makes absolutely no sense from the very beginning, but just the way that she was flipping around, like, that was really, really good. There would be moments where she would walk forward in a weird way that was slightly off. There would be moments when she would just randomly walk backwards, and I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, there's no rhyme or reason to the way she moves her body. Because there would be times when she would have to stand in one place for a long time, and then there would be other times where she's like moving around, but it wasn't the thing of like she's crawling on the walls or crawling on the ceiling. Like, she's still like a normal human person and can be injured like a normal human person, but it would just be completely random how she would move, and it was so creepy and it was so off-putting. And I really, really appreciated that they just scene to scene, they did something different. I know I'm already kind of in spoilers, but I'm going to really get into spoilers because now I'm going to talk about the ending. Depending on who watched this movie, they're going to feel differently about what they watch. Because as a woman watching it, I'm feeling bad for Nikki the whole time. No matter what crazy thing Nikki does or who she hurts or if she hurts herself, all I'm thinking the majority of the movie is like, you ruined this girl's life because you couldn't accept the fact that she may not like you as much as you like her. You supernaturally ruined her life. And in my mind, because there's been so many times when I've been friends with a guy that liked me and I didn't like him back. And so my brain immediately went to, imagine you're friends with this guy. You give him an opportunity to tell you how he feels and he doesn't. But then behind your back decides to do some supernatural voodoo shit to make you fall in love with him against your wishes, against your consent. There's even scenes where like she's having sex with him and you could tell that she doesn't actually like feel it or feel into it. She's just making noises to make it sound like she's into it and into him. And I just feel bad for Nikki the whole time. And then when they finally have a moment where the real Nikki speaks and talks about how she's suffering, I'm like, I fucking knew it. She's suffering and you're over here fucking her. And because you don't want to admit that you did some fucked up shit or some stupid shit, you're over here fucking this girl, having, you know, everything that you ever wanted. She's giving up her whole life to live in your house and cook you meals and pack your fucking lunchbox and send you to work and waiting for you to come home because she has no personality outside of you. I was on Nikki's side. And when they said the only way to get out of it was for him to die, I was like, go do it then. Free her. You are the problem. You need to also be the solution. Let that girl go. Stop being a coward. That's how I felt the majority of the movie. But I also like, there was couples watching the movie and debate, and I feel like some men might watch it and be like, man, I understand, you know, I hate it when the girl puts you in the friend zone and you love her and you want to tell her, like he's genuinely conflicted about what he should do, because on one hand it's too much, but on the other hand he just desperately wants to be loved by someone so bad. And he even finds out that Nikki could not possibly be into him because she had friend zoned him and because she had been sleeping with another guy in the friend group who was Bear's friend. And so he has to reckon with the fact that she never really liked you like that. And he even has moments where he's like, you don't really love me. Like, do you even like me as a person? Like he's having all of this like existential crises and shit. And I'm sitting here like, why do you even have to ask this question? Obviously, if she's acting completely different before you wish that she loved you, then she didn't love you before, because if she's loving you now, it's different. It feels different. And all he had to do was say his real feelings. She would have either rejected him or not rejected him. Seemed like she was giving him a chance to say, I do like you, so that they could go out. You could have had a chance, but nah, you chose supernatural shenanigans. So I'm mad at him. But I can see some guys watching it like, oh, he was genuinely conflicted. He's a good guy. He wanted to do the right thing. He loved her. Blah, 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 blah. He just wanted to be loved and all of that. So I'll be interested to see how people talk about it. I know the creators I follow are going to be like, just because they watch horror movies all the time, the only answer to what he should have done in this movie was not that. Not that. Any horror movie fan will watch it and say, you literally were warned not just by the clerk, but all over the box of like, this is a bad idea. And you still did it. And you did it on a whim. You didn't even take it seriously. And that's why I think it's so funny when he goes to the guy friend towards the end, and he's trying to explain to him that the wish thing does work. And the guy friend, he snaps it and says, I wish for $1 billion. Just like completely, again, just completely like flippantly, like it's whatever. Because that's exactly what Bear did. He did it on a whim because of how he was feeling, that he did not confess to her when she gave him the opportunity. So on a whim, he made a wish. And of course, because Bear's issue is that he never tells anybody what the fuck is actually going on, and he can never be honest with anybody. Everybody in the friend group ends up dying because he did not tell his guy friend, hey, Sarah is dead and this is really bad, and I think it has to do with this wish thing, and this is what I need you to do before you open this box. He couldn't say it clearly. So of course his friend thought he was bullshitting. Of course he did. And then when Sarah saw what was going on and she reached out like, hey, I'm your friend, talk to me, what's going on? Even she was like, I think Nikki's taking advantage of you. Cause she didn't really love you like that. Now she living in your house, crying on your shoulder, laying up in your bed. I think she's taking advantage of you. And by the way, I have feelings for you. And you just never returned them because you were so focused on Nikki. And I was like, I knew that was coming because they set some stuff up like that earlier in the movie, which is good. And then of course, Nikki catches them and goes fucking ham and ends up killing Sarah. And it becomes a whole thing. What I thought at the end was so funny because I saw it happening. And it's like the movie wanted me to forget that I saw it happening, because Bear went back to the store and bought multiple of the One Wish Willows because he was going to try to convince his friend to use it to break whatever supernatural curse was happening to Nikki. And the friend used it obviously on $1 billion. So then he took the other one and he went back to Nikki thinking he was going to try to convince her to free herself with the wish, which was stupid, but that's what he was going to do. But obviously he got there, he saw Sarah's body, he freaked out, he dropped it on the floor, and you watch him drop it on the floor, and he goes into the bathroom and he locks himself in the bathroom because he's decided now that he's going to end things. But he can't shoot himself. So then he decides to take pills. And after taking the pills, he decides that he doesn't want to die. So he starts to throw up the pills. But of course, Nikki picks up the One Wish Willow and she wishes for him to fall in love with her. I'm assuming as much as she's in love with him. And because of that, he doesn't throw up the pills and he goes out to see her and for them to be together. But then he dies from an overdose and Nikki is about to shoot herself because now the person she loves is dead. But then she snaps out of it at the last minute because the only way to free her from the wish was for Bear to die. And I feel like he should have did that earlier because now she is finally back in control of her body, but all of her friends are dead and she has to live with the memories of everything that happened. Because from what I could tell, the way she was switching back and forth in the beginning, she kind of seemed to remember she knew what was going on. So it's like she literally was watching herself have sex with a man that she was not in love with and become completely obsessed and could not control anything that was happening around her or control her body. Like, this is really, as horrific as the story presents it, you know, you're seeing all of this from Bear's perspective and Nikki's all crazy and stuff like that. But when you think about it as a woman, this was an absolute nightmare for Nikki. Like, she was the ultimate victim of this. And then her friends were victims of Bear's selfishness. But yeah, I've been talking long enough. I just wanted to rant and rave about a movie I just saw. Like I said, it's not often that I watch a movie and then I get home and I'm like, I want to watch that movie again. Because Indy Navarrete, she was acting her ass off, and the way that she just moved her body, and I know I keep saying that, but the way that she just moved her body so that you could see like, okay, she is obviously possessed. Something is obviously controlling her, but not to the level of she's going to crawl on the ceiling and fly around and all of the extra stuff. They didn't take it over the top. It was just kind of a lot of subtle or quick things that would happen to say, okay, this girl is not okay. Even if she was just regular crazy, she wouldn't move her body the way that she moved her body. Like, she's obviously possessed and suffering. And I just thought that was really, really good. And I can't wait to watch it again. If there are some things that I missed or I didn't mention since I just saw the movie and need to watch it more, tell me in the comments, those of you who watched the movie, what you thought about it. Because I do think that this is a genuinely good movie. I've seen some people mentioning it as the best movie of the year. And I don't always agree with people's best movie of the year. But so far of the horror movies that I've seen this year, this is one where I say, like, again, Curry Barker, like, put his foot in it, really. And I'm so glad that he got the opportunity to, you know, write a story like this, because this is a really, really good story. And it's like, it's so different from what I've seen before, and I really appreciate that. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.